Welcome back to another episode of Measured. We appreciate you tuning in today. First, we'd just like to start that 154i. We are celebrating our 3rd year anniversary. We're really excited for that. In one of the beginning episodes, I would have spoke about how I did have a different agency for 9 years before kind of coming back and starting 154i after we had a fine men's clothing business, or I should say an online fine men's clothing business for a few years in between all of that. So it's not that we're just fresh to all this, but 154i is celebrating its 3rd year, and we're just really excited for all the customers who have put their trust in us and all the future ones that we will have opportunities to work with. We're here for it. This episode, we will be talking a lot about backlinks, but more about just kind of reference-worthy backlinks. And there's different routes you can take to get a backlink, and we'll talk really briefly on what a backlink is, but just kind of all about the different types of backlinks, what to build first, how you can go about finding what other people are already linking to or content-worthy topics that people are referencing. We'll show you a free option and then a paid option if you happen to have that program. We'll have our customer question, and then we'll end, as always, with our featured project. So first and foremost, a backlink is simply a link from another website to your website. That's all it is. So if you ever hear someone referencing what is a backlink, it is just a link from a different website back to your website. And most people like to call it link building, depending on if you're working with an agency or you're researching it online. So if you're looking at backlinking, link building, but backlinks are usually the result of something a little bit more important than just having a page worth citing. So this whole episode is going to be about having text-worthy content on your website. So I'm not just going to beat around the bush or make a surprise about what this is all going to be about. It is all going to come back to that all in the end. But the whole point of this is, as we kind of walk through these kind of different options that you can do to kind of find what people are referencing, it is just realizing that there are many options to get a backlink. Some people pay. There's different sites you can go on and you can order them. You can order a guest post that has some relevant content that comes back to your site. You can choose what their domain authority is. I'm not going to jump a ton into domain authority, but they're usually like 20 to 90, obviously 90 being the best and usually the most expensive. And you're getting links back to your website. So you go, you pay, you order them, someone goes out, sources it all, you get the link back. That's always an option. You can send hundreds and hundreds of emails to people asking for links back to your site that you find relevant. It's very manual, a lot of manual work that you can do into that. But the whole focus of this episode is actually going to be working on just having that link-worthy content directly on your site. So what would make something link-worthy or reference-worthy is really kind of the biggest thing. So when you are getting referenced for that backlink, it's pretty much like a source. People used to write papers, and I'm sure people still write papers. I haven't wrote a paper in forever. But when I remember in school, you always had to cite your sources. Like, where'd you get that data from? That is what you're looking for. You want to be that source back. So it is something that you need to have of quality. So original data, cost and cost comparisons are good options. Guides, explainer content, so how to do something, tools, checklists, calculators. We talked about a calculator on one of our last episodes that we built out for our customer. It is having those different options that you have real examples backed by experience. And when you can start gathering that data and you're willing to put that data out, and the biggest thing I have to say too, most of the time, these aren't your sales pages. I am not saying that they're always a blog either, but it is getting your data or other data that and you might be sourcing it as well from parts of it, but that's fine. When you're thinking about the overall backlink process, or an overall success of your content, I should more say, you are internal linking, you are external linking. Internal linking just means that you are linking to other relevant pages on your site. So if you're talking about a topic of let's say a service that you offer, let's say we're just talking about 154i. If we are talking about web design, we can easily link to our web design page. That's internal linking. External linking, which is like what we're talking about, is sourcing. And so when you are finding that content that you're sourcing back, and when you can put in your own tools or checklists that are relevant to whatever that topic may be, and then other people find that relevant, this is how we're talking about when you're going to be winning with that. So we are going to kind of talk about one option here that is free with Google and how you can kind of go about getting on Google and finding relevant, I don't know how to perfectly word it, relevant sources. How people are sourcing back to topics is really kind of what we're talking about. And so when I was having some problems with my iPad, I was putting this together. And if you're just listening, you're not going to be able to see anything. And I'll try to describe it as best I can. So I just do have screenshots, but I would have just taken them. And so I just have Google up. So google.com. And in the search bar, we have cost of e-commerce website design in 2026. And this is just relevant to 154i. We do e-commerce. Obviously, 2026 is the year we're in. I think it's always interesting to see what other people are charging or what people are expecting to be paying when it comes to getting a new e-commerce website. So when you click search, you're going to get your results back. And up top, you're going to start with an AI overview. So it would have kind of summarized the first organic option that we do have highlighted. You will see sponsored results. Those are the people that are paying with Google Ads to be shown for cost of e-commerce website design in 2026. And then I have highlighted the first organic result. And it happens to be BigCommerce. And we do build BigCommerce websites. So I thought, perfect. This is extremely relevant for what we're talking about. And so the title for them is E-commerce Website Costs, the Complete 2026 Guide. So that's the title of the article that we will be clicking into. And again, as I said, I just have screenshots here. When you click into it, you will see now the next section on the page, but I just have a blip out of the entire article. So it's an extremely informational article. And for what we're just looking at, I just grabbed a portion of it. So it has build and cost range, and they have 4 different things they list out. Basic to mid-range was 0 to 5,000. Small to medium business is 5,000 to 25,000, which I thought was a monster range. Custom / mid enterprise was 25,000 to 80,000 plus, and complex or enterprise was 80,000 to 250,000. Now, I would love to build someone anything for $80-some thousand when it came to e-commerce. But when you're looking at this, the biggest thing that I took away from this was the source. And it says the source is monocubed, and it is in blue, so it's a hyperlink. And this is exactly what we're talking about. So BigCommerce had their own article talking about cost that they're sourcing from another site. And when you go to Monocube's site, you will see that they went into way more depth into each of those article or each of those different breakdowns that BigCommerce did not show out. BigCommerce pretty much summarized the title with the approximate cost, but it didn't go into features or examples of like different styles or different types of companies that would be fitting for what each of those different options were. So, takeaway from all of that is that you can go on Google, and even when you went on Google and I typed in that e-commerce web design cost or for 2026, it will give you similar questions for you to keep seeing how people are wording it differently. I worded it one way when I was doing the search, but you can scroll down a little bit and also see people also asked or may have also asked, or you may also find this interesting, and you can go and do the same thing. All of these successful articles And you would have noticed that that BigCommerce article was number one organic result for that. And they are sourcing their information from other individuals. The whole goal of this whole episode is to get you to be that source, to realize that when you provide quality statistics, examples, real experiences, that you can win it with getting backlinks without having to go out and source it all yourself or going out and purchasing additional links through a different platform. And with this, you can also see the different, if you go through multiple BigCommerce articles, which when you're manually doing this with Google, you can see all kind of the different places that they're sourcing or the types of content that they're sourcing. So BigCommerce was relevant for 154i, and why I went into it is because we work with BigCommerce when we build e-commerce. We build in Shopify, BigCommerce, or WooCommerce. Those are the three main that we work with. So that was very relevant for us. So if you were in a different field, you may be looking at obviously a different type of site, but you're looking for those top authority figure sites and how they're linking back to others and the content that is being put out. And then that is those ideas and topics that you go from, but you make it special for yourself. It isn't that you just keep, don't just go copy paste what someone else did. It needs to be very authentic to you. I'm starting to use the word authentic too much, especially when we're talking with people in dealing with organic social and all those different items. But it is just a huge component of all of it. Is you being authentic, being your authentic self on your site with your content, and then producing that source-worthy content that is extremely relevant to what people are already doing. There's no guarantee. You don't know who's going to source back to it. But when your content starts getting found on its own, you have so many better opportunities to then get sourced as well. And so we kind of talked about Google there. There's one other source that we use because we are an agency and I like to streamline some of the work that we do. And so Ahrefs can be, and it's just Ahrefs.com, can be an awesome source to be able to go look at someone's site. So you'll see on the screen, if you're just listening, I apologize because I have a lot of examples this time. So I do highly recommend you guys going out and checking out our YouTube page so you can see them. But on the screen in Ahrefs, we went to Site Explorer. I'm not going to sit and try to explain all of Ahrefs to you right now because it is a monster platform with extreme power, but it is fantastic when you are wanting to know about backlinks or just linking in general. Obviously, there's different things that it can measure as well, but in my personal opinion, I feel like it is best for backlinking. And so inside their Site Explorer, I just entered in bigcommerce.com because that was the site we were just looking at on Google. So it's just kind of tying it all back together. It is going to bring you to the next screen. Is going to have so much data and metrics about it. But the biggest thing is on that left-hand side, they have a thing called Best By Links. And this will show which pages the site is getting the most backlinks to. And so this is extremely relevant because we are not only are you looking at BigCommerce, but then we're going to see what others, or which pages, I should say, within BigCommerce that are getting the most the most referral domains. So the most backlinks that they are getting. So I highlighted one of them on the screen. I didn't grab the absolute highest one. It is showing a 404 error right now, but I think they changed the URL, which is why it's probably doing that. So I went down a few, and the one that we're going to look at has 8,367 referring domains. And then by what I mean we're going to look at is the page that has those high referring domains. On the next screen that we are looking at, we went out of Site Explorer here. Well, we're still in the Site Explorer. We're not by Best By Links. I went and clicked on Backlinks on the left-hand side, which I have highlighted. In the top URL, I'm going to jump back to the other screen really quick. I would have grabbed the URL on this page, which is like the bigcommerce.com /treatment-1/ and I would have put that in that search bar at the top. And then from here, you can see all of the sites that people are actually linking to this page. It tells us this topic isn't just ranking, but it's being referenced. And so it's kind of going through what is relevant to you, or for us, since BigCommerce is extremely relevant for us when we deal with e-commerce, it is determining from there, like what is the, you can see what the most what has the most referring domains. We can go take a look at them, and then we can realize that this isn't just really it is a pattern, but what can we do to start falling in line with this? How do we get sourced? How is this relevant back to 154i or whichever site you're looking at, whatever topic that you're diving into? And so it doesn't mean you have to have Ahrefs to do this, because I just showed you how you can do pretty much the similar thing on Google, but it's just kind of understanding that there are tools out there that kind of remove the guesswork. It makes it go a lot faster. You can get a lot of information. You can get a lot of topical data where you're not going out to Google to try to find those different topics on who you should be looking at or what sites you can be searching on. You can put the sites right in. You can go look at the backlinks. You can go see the referring domains, and then you can go on those referring domains and see the content that they're writing to refer back. It's just kind of a whole network of sources that you can keep going through, and you can go down that rabbit hole, but it's all just about helping you determine where to go or what to do to kind of continue that focus on your site and on your content. And so one thing that we have experienced is that sometimes your content can be hard to reference. And that just means like you may just be fully talking about yourself, which would only make sense because it is your website, but it is realizing that it can't just be all about you. You will have your sales and service pages, which those are usually not the source pages. And that's perfectly okay, because those are the pages you need to be all about yourself. But when we are talking about building out this other content, it is that we aren't just talking about yourself. We're not going to tell you to try to repeat that exact same advice that you've read 19 times. That isn't going to help you. That isn't going to get you referenced. If you have no data, no proof, if there are 0 examples are huge. Whether you have tons of data about it or it's a very specific like case study about it, having real examples is going to help you tremendously. And just even a good headline and making sure your page isn't outdated, and then having a clear takeaway. Those are just some simple things that if you aren't being referenced at all, period, it's just kind of going through that to figure out what could we do different. And it is knowing that you can start at any time. Don't ever think that it's ever too late to start changing your content up. If you feel like you have some really great content that you did, but it's like 3 years ago, give it a refresh. Update the examples. Obviously, if you have pricing or something like that, I'm guessing in 3 years, it has changed tremendously from where it was to where it is now. And that is also a huge thing that people don't always realize or don't ever feel like they could do, is just making sure that you are keeping your content fresh. I'm not saying going and change absolutely everything just to change it, but if you have some outdated examples or outdated pricing or outdated comparisons, go and update those and reference that it's been updated. That can be huge too. A lot of people ask us kind of like, where do you start? I always say you find that topic, you find that source. I was starting with BigCommerce there because we been working on different things for e-commerce, and BigCommerce again being one of those sites that we build for. But it's kind of having that understanding of where you want to start and then diving in from there. And I think that once you kind of get into the realization that you can have so much success just with having such quality content, having that clear messaging. We talk about messaging quite a bit here as well, that you can get those backlinks, you can get those sources without doing all the extra on, or even paying all the extra, and just having all of that quality. And quality is a huge thing for us too. Just have that quality, take that time, give those examples, have that proof, and you will just start to see your organic wins, is an easy way to say it. Having those organic wins just kind of from doing things right. And that's really, to me, what SEO is all about. We are going to jump in to our customer question of the day. And this comes and goes with people, but we just had a conversation with the customer the other day on it. It's, if people leave our site quickly, is that hurting our rankings? And I always say not directly. I mean, if you have a high bounce rate, a bounce rate just means they came on your site and left pretty much shouldn't say immediately, but is a percentage of all your site visitors. Pretty much how long did they spend on your site? Did they go to any other pages? Did they just land and leave? I mean, so it's that traction of the people that are coming and leaving pretty much immediately. And it is kind of figuring out why. Are you giving the wrong signals? Is your SEO giving, is the targeting completely off? Or are you giving the wrong information that people are expecting to find something here and there's nothing about it when they get there? I mean, they can all be about your messaging can be off. It can deal actually with your website in general. If your design or if you just have different things switching, happening quickly that people aren't expecting, they will leave right away. You don't see it as much anymore, but people used to have music or something playing or a video playing when you landed, and it would get really loud. If you had your phone on loud or your computer on loud, I mean, that would turn people off. So there's a lot of different things that can go into why people come and leave right away. But I usually don't say it's so much a ranking factor, but a signal factor. I 100% think that it needs to be looked at and improved, and to get those people to spend more time on your site. So it is something that we very much pay attention to and want to make sure that when you have those clear messages, people usually know what they're going to find right away. And you could have the clearest message and they get there and it wasn't truly what they were looking for. They were doing a search and they typed it in a different way because they're just trying to guess to see what they're looking for. But it is, for us, it is really, to us, we try to figure out what signals are actually firing wrong when someone arrives, and not so much that your ranking is completely wrong. So yes, let's fix it. Let's pay attention. What can we do better? It's just some of those things that we will dive in with you as we go. And then we are going to end on our featured project. And this was a fun one. We worked with Jensen Real Estate. They're out of Okoboji, Iowa. As you can see in the header, the standard for Okoboji Real Estate. If you're looking for some of the best, they are the best, especially if you're in the Okoboji area. Just like these are all just going to be screenshots again, as I was just having some issues running sites through my iPad through our system here. But just a fun website to do. It ties directly into their MLS. So you'll see their listings. You can search listings by the different links that are up there. You can see all the MLS listings as well. So anyone else's homes that they have up there through a different real estate agent, you can find on their site as well. What I find awesome for them too is that when I am looking at different real estate sites, they don't force you to give you a username and password to view. And so if you are just looking for a site that you just want to go and be able to go look for what is for sale in the Okoboji, Iowa area, and you don't want to have to give someone your name, email, all the above just to see a listing, check out buygreatlakes.com. That is Jensen's website domain, buygreatlakes.com. And again, you don't have to give over all your information to be able to browse. If you are looking to purchase or sell a home in the Iowa Great Lakes, I highly recommend you checking out Jensen Real Estate. So that is all we have for you today. We appreciate you tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening on, and we'll catch you next time.